All right, so our session has begun recording. Welcome to our Housing and Residential Education question and answer session. During this session, we'll be providing updates regarding our check-in process, fall 2020, and any other updates regarding the housing experience that we have coming up. We'll go ahead and also have an opportunity throughout and at the end for any questions that you have that we didn't address today. And then we'll provide additional context too to all the different changes that we are completing as a result of the pandemic that we are experiencing. So I'll go ahead and start. My name is Tanya Yanchison. I work for Student Housing as a staff member, and we work with conference events and marketing. And so as part of my role, we help manage our different marketing channels. So if you haven't, a shameless plug, if you haven't followed us on Instagram or Facebook, or Twitter, or checked out our YouTube channel, definitely check out all of our great social media. It's a great way to keep informed and up to date about everything going on with housing. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our student assistants, and then we'll have our orientation leader support provide an introduction, and then we'll get started.
Hi, my name is Mariah Jeffrey. I'm going to be a senior this upcoming semester. I work for housing as a marketing and graphic design student assistant.
And my name's Alyssa. I'm going into my second year at Channel Islands, and I'm housing's marketing and conference services student assistant.
Sorry, Tanya, really quickly, what is it that we're sharing, name and?
You can see your name, position, and honestly, I mean, this is a very casual session, so anything you'd like to share, feel free.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Clarissa Gaeta. I work through this new student orientation program, and what else do I want to share? I graduated with a BA in sociology and a minor in communication this past fall.
Awesome. And if any of our either students or supporters that are on the call would like to introduce themselves, we would love to hear from you. You are not required, but you are more than welcome to unmute yourself. Or if you want to just say hey in the chat. We are in Zoom, so at the bottom you'll see a chat function. They'll also, depending on the version of Zoom you have, you may also have reactions. So feel free to utilize those. You can also use under the participant section the hand raise tool. And so that also gives us an opportunity to interact and see if you want to go ahead and speak. Like I said, you are welcome to unmute yourself. This is a more casual, informal opportunity for us to provide you updates and then answer any questions you have. So feel free to be engaged if you would like to. So before we get started, just because I saw, hi Julia, I saw you turn on your camera. And so if any of our students too want to introduce just your name, what year you are, and where you're going to be living, since I know our assignment notification went out.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so my name is Julia. I am transferring. I'm technically going to be a junior, and I'm going to be living in the Anacapa dorm.
Awesome, welcome.
Thank you.
And then Angel or Angel, did you want to chime in at all? I saw you had said a hello in the chat, so I just wanted to.
Yeah, my name's Angel. I'm transferring from Cuesta College in San Luis Obispo, so I'll also be a junior, but I will be housed in Town Center.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I'm from Atascadero, so I know Cuesta very well. Anyone else, Bailey or Giselle, did you want to introduce yourself to the group? No pressure, just wanted to put it out there in case you did. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with some updates. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Alyssa and Mariah. They're going to provide updates regarding our check-in process, fall 2020, and what to expect with changes on how we are ensuring safety precautions, as well as what kinds of things you should expect to experience on move-in day. So with that, I'll turn it over to Alyssa and Mariah.
Okay, so I'm going to be reviewing some guidance from institutions of higher education. So we are going to be reducing access to common areas. So this means like any non-essential common space. So such as the pool and the rec center, that's not going to be open. And then laundry will be open, but with limited capacity. And the Santa Cruz Village kitchens will also be open, but they will be by reservation only. And then the times for common spaces or for the kitchen can be reserved between 8 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. And with if there is access to certain common spaces, you will have to get through it with your key card. And then anytime you're using an item in these common spaces, like the kitchen, please sanitize them before and after you use them. And we are following basic sanitization, but just to be safe for yourself, it's good to sanitize before and after. And then some requirements for both staff and students. So faculty will receive guidance if a student arrives to class without a mask. We are still going over what kind of things we're going to go over with students if they choose not to comply with the mask rule. And then there will be upcoming training for students as well on safety protocols. And then there will be circles in offices that say like 6 feet apart to just make sure people are remembering to safely social distance. And then leading up to the office in the G building, there will be a space where mailboxes are. And in the major courtyard, EG and AB courtyards, there will be tape laid out every 6 feet as a reminder to keep safe distance. And then once you go onto campus, Mariah will talk more about the check-in process, but once you are in housing, each student will be given a package of disposable wipes, and the village office will manage refill bottles for students if you happen to run out of hand sanitizer or these wipes. And you will also be given a red HRE BAMI. A BAMI is one of those masks where you like pull over your head and then you pull it up to your nose. It's kind of like a bandana, but it's called a BAMI. And then you will be given one thermometer, one logo hand sanitizer carabiner, one face mask, and a bottle of cleaner, which is called crud cutter. And you will, I believe it's 3 weeks after you get these personal protective equipment, the housing team will go and refill your items as well. Let's see what else.
Just to clarify on that really quickly, so the BAMI or neck sock and the hand sanitizer that will be able to be clipped on to your materials, those will come about 3 weeks after. All the other items Alyssa listed off, so the other hand sanitizer that's not clippable, the face mask, the crud cutter, and the wipes, those will be in your room upon arrival to the campus.
And then other updates, so food service. I know we've had questions about food service prior and past meetings. So Tortillas and Mom Wong Kitchen will be open for service as well as Fruity and Sip. It will be open at the library by 7 a.m. on Friday the 21st. And then Island Cafe, Pizza Pie, Town Center Market will be closed. And the CI Dolphin Pantry is full and is still operating, so you're more than welcome to go there. And then the C Store is closed as well. So your food plan is mostly, I believe, it's flex cash to use towards these food services on campus. Anyone
And then
that
just to add to that, Alyssa, too, for your swipes that are loaded onto your card, that will be to pick up meals that are already boxed and ready to go for you, available in Fruity and Sip at the library. So a swipe will get you a meal, and they'll have set meals there. If you want a more customized meal, that's where you'll use your flex cash at those other eateries that Alyssa mentioned.
And then some last updates are about interacting with multiple people on a daily basis. So let's say you are one of the people who are going to be working on campus, or you're just going to be interacting with people who work on campus. So people who work on campus, they're required to wear gloves, a face mask, and a shield. And then there will be a plexiglass barrier between the workers and the students whenever, like, say you go and want to request your mail. Like, there will be barriers between the workers and the students, as well as a barrier between each of the students working. When you go to these offices and you want to check out items, there will be checking out for minimal cleaning items. I believe for like vacuums and stuff. I don't think we're going to be checking out brooms this semester because vacuums are pretty much useful for not needing a broom. No more than 8 people will be permitted in the front of the main village office. That will most likely be posted on the village office. All of your mail will be going to Santa Cruz. So even if you're living in town center, your mail will still be in Santa Cruz. So you have like a specific way to say on like your mail, like if you're getting it delivered from Amazon, you have like a specific delivery address. So it will say like Santa Cruz, comma, like TC, and then your room number, and then you would just go to Santa Cruz and pick it up, and they would know. Other than that, unless there's any questions about anything I just said, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Mariah, who's going to talk about the check-in process when you move on to campus.
So before you start, Mariah, we have one question from Julia. You're welcome to either unmute yourself or type it in the chat. I saw the hand go up, but I did see it go down. So if I'm mistaken, let me know.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait till the end because you might explain it before I ask.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Okay. So checking in. Students assigned a check-in time can reassign themselves to a different time in their portal. So if you have a check-in time that doesn't work for you, you can like make sure that it does. So students have an assigned check-in time, and there will be about 80 students checking in per day, 12 appointments per hour. And then the weekend, the times will be from like 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Also, you should have already gotten a room assignment already. So if you don't, please let us know. And we just want to let you know that there will be no overnight guests or any guests permitted for fall. And then complete prior to move-in, you need to pay the remaining balance by August 18th before 5 p.m. So you can check if you have paid, and you can also check in your housing portal. If you see like a preliminary flag, it will tell you if you need to complete something prior. So make sure you check that before moving in. And then when you do move in, there will be like a red bin, and so it will be sanitized and it will be in your room already when you check in. Okay, so when you're checking in, you will come in on Camarillo Street Drive, and then you're going to drive to A10 parking lot, and there will be a health screening provided, and the nursing volunteers will be reviewing your health questionnaire. And so you'll be getting a health questionnaire the night before at like 12 p.m., but you can do it the morning of, which you should before you get there, because they're going to be checking if you completed it, and they're also going to be checking your temperature. And then once you pass that, they will send you a barcode, and so you're going to go to SH2, and there'll be a bunch of tents there, and so you'll just scan the barcode, and they'll give you your key, and then you're going to drive over to SH1, and you're going to unload all your belongings, and you have 30 minutes to do so. And if you need longer than 30 minutes, you need a parking pass. You don't get a ticket, and if you don't have one, you're going to have to park in SH2, and it's like there's a fence, and so you're going to be parking on like the back side of it, and you're just gonna have to like get the bin and like walk over there so you don't get a ticket. And yeah, so it's SH2, and they'll tell you that too. And there'll be signs, and you can also reference your check-in newsletter as well. So I think that's it for the updates for check-in.
We got a question from Angel. So they say, I'm going to submit my questions before I forget about them. What comes with the dorms/apartments in town centers, such as furniture? What items do we need to bring? So about dorms in general. So any dorm that has double furniture, we have already began the process of taking out the double furniture. But in town center, the only double furniture that has been removed is the beds. So you will have double furniture in there. So if you're in a double occupancy room in town center, unless you got the single occupancy room, then you would have the double furniture in there. The sum of items that come with it are, I believe, like a table and some couches, and then a fridge and your bed, of course. What items do you need to bring? We do have a checklist of like things that you could just to keep in mind. So like toiletries or things that you might want to bring. So obviously clothes and laundry basket. And then we do encourage you to bring your own groceries as well from home. Your school stuff. If you look at our housing website.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Okay, I was actually, if I could be more specific, so town center, if I'm not mistaken, those rooms, apartments, they come with some type of like a kitchenette or kitchen area.
Yes.
So will those rooms be provided with like cups and things of that nature, or will we have to bring our own like silverware and dishes and things like that?
Yeah, I believe you do, but I could be wrong. So Tanya, can you clarify that?
Yeah, you do bring your own. Same with Anacapa and Santa Cruz.
Yeah, you just get like the basic things. So you have like your stove, like a kitchenette, pretty much. But you do have to bring like your own dishes, silverware, all that stuff.
Okay, next question. Will family members also not be allowed in the fall? Tanya, do you know this?
Yes, so the only time as of right now during the academic year that guests will be allowed is on move-in day, and you're permitted 3 people, but they must be within your same household. And they are able to assist you on move-in day, whatever move-in day you've been assigned. And then after that, there won't be any guests allowed on campus, whether they live with you, are part of your family or not. And so that's part of our compliance with Ventura County Public Health, as well as through state governor ordinance.
And I'll read the next question. So Angel also asks, will the gym centers for all dorms be closed all fall semester? I'm guessing you're asking like town center. I know they have a gym in there. I'm not sure if it'll be open. Do you know, Tanya?
So as of right now, with the governor's or recent order for all higher education institutions, the gym is it's not deemed as essential. And so all of our indoor gyms, so both the Housing Fitness Center as well as the on-campus recreation center, will be closed. If we receive an update, we definitely, we would love to open it up. It's just, we're a bit restricted there. We are trying to see if we can have outdoor activities, but it will definitely be a different environment for sure.
Can I add something to the question that I have on here?
Yeah.
I know you're talking about like the guests and visitors rule. And I see someone on the bottom ask, how are they going to be enforcing the guest rule? I understand that there's the compliance that we have to follow and the rules and all that, but at the same time, we're adults, and I don't want to feel like we're going to be inmates in a prison. So are we going to have like security randomly checking? Like, how is that going to work? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So as part of our kind of maintenance and security of our villages, you all have an RA. Your RA conducts monthly health, safety, and occupancy checks. You get notified within 72 hours of when those checks will occur via email. And then your RA will usually schedule them since it's a lot easier to do with the student there. And they just do basic checks to ensure that, one, you're there and that everything's going okay, making sure that there's no health or safety violations. So typically the things that come up during health and safety might be like if you have excessive trash, they'll let you know you got to throw it out. Or if there's any community living standard violations. So when you move into housing, we have our resident handbook, which is basically all the rules of housing. And so you just have to make sure you abide by those standards. And so those will be sent out. I imagine you'll get an email prior to move-in with a link to the updated resident handbook. As far as with guests and enforcement, I mean, we're not going around every hall knocking on doors like, do you have any guests? It would be more so we know who's able to be in the halls, and if we see people starting to come together and gather, we would have to enforce the separation. So basically what the enforcement looks like for anything, any violation, no matter what it is, we document it, and then there is either, if it's a minor violation or more of a warning, you get an email. Or if it results in a meeting with a conduct officer, then you would go through the conduct process where you chat about what the violation was, and then there's some kind of sanction that's assigned. The biggest thing in terms of no guests, it's just the order regarding to have the most protection. So I know like out in the real world, you kind of make your own kind of decisions in terms of who you let into your house. But it is also a local and state ordinance that you don't have guests outside of your own household, whether people choose to abide by that or not within their own practices. We as a state institution have to have more strict guidelines around that in order to protect the students that are living on campus. So we definitely understand that it's not the most ideal, and it is a change, and I completely respect that. And so we're always happy to dialogue too, if you want to kind of process it more, if you have additional feedback. But as of right now, that's the instruction that we've been provided.
Okay. No, and I understand that. I just wanted to clarify there wouldn't be like security at the door before we enter.
No.
Okay.
No, definitely not. Our gates will be locked 24/7. So you have a key card and you just use your key to get in and out, but there is no curfew. We do have quiet hours. That's more regarding community respect. So we always have 24-hour courtesy hours. So that's more so if someone has a big concern regarding noise, we always encourage students to just talk to each other, but if they need to involve us, we're happy to step in. And then the quiet hours are more into the evening. So after 10 p.m. during weekdays and midnight on weekends, with our weekends being considered Friday, Saturday. So it's when school's not the next day. And then our weekdays would be Sunday through Thursday. Cool. And then I know earlier we were chatting too about the people, you can still have the 3 people that will assist you moving in, and that they just have to be in your immediate household. That's more of an honor system thing. We're not necessarily verifying every address of the individuals in your car. However, if you do have more than 3 people in your vehicle in addition to the student, then we may have to redirect you to not check in. That's something we'll obviously troubleshoot with each family, but we want to make sure people are informed that it's no more than 3 additional people from your household that you can bring. So you can't bring 4 people, even if you have 4 people extra than you. Like if you're a family of 5, you would need to bring only 3 family members. And then in terms of to Angel, and other just with guests, even people that are living in housing that you're mingling with within housing, the standards still apply in terms of not gathering in large groups, making sure you abide if you are over 21 and have a designated consumption zone. You still need to abide by all of our alcohol guidelines. And
If you can just elaborate, what is that?
the designated consumption zone part, or the
yes, that one.
Yeah, so if you are over the age of 21, and I believe it was also in the Move-In newsletter on page, let me see if I can pull it up really quick. I know it was towards the end, but there's usually a course you take and sometimes an assessment, and then you get a placard that basically certifies your space. Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen just so you can see it. But once you go through the process of getting your alcohol privileges, you can have a specific amount, and so those amounts are stated in the resident handbook. There's a beer, you basically want to make sure you don't go over excessive limit. So regarding hard alcohol, beer, wine, there's a minimum per person. So you just have to follow those minimums. And then, so it's allowed in our student apartments once you've obtained your APC is your alcohol privilege card, and your designated consumption zone basically signifies your room as a space where alcohol can be stored and consumed. The alcohol privilege card means that if any DCZ that you are in, you have to maintain that card. The DCZ, though, is only for that space. So DCZ gives rights over the space. The alcohol privilege card gives alcohol rights to the person. And you should be getting an email of some kind, because typically what we do is we email all of our housing students that are over the age of 21 or will be over the age by move-in day. And they are guided through the process to complete, and then they will pick up their cards usually the week after move-in weekend. So one thing we make sure to let students know is until you have that card and the DCZ, designated consumption zone placard, you're not able to consume or store alcohol in your room. Even if you are over the age of 21, you have to get the card and the placard first. And it's not something that's provided right on move-in weekend. It's done the week after. So there's a little bit of delay.
And like you were saying, that email will be coming out at some point.
It should. And if you have not received an email by, I would say, next Tuesday, are any of you moving in before Wednesday? Okay. You are, Julia?
No. I was just unmuting myself because I had my hand up, so I just wanted, but when you're done, no worries.
Yeah. So if you should receive it by Tuesday. If you haven't, I'll try to get some more information that we can at least put on our Instagram and social media accounts. So we have some more information on the DCZ process, because we definitely are having DCZs, but I think it would be good for us to disseminate some more clarification on what that will look like as students with alcohol privilege cards consume with one another. Julia, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like going along with what everyone's saying about guests and stuff. Like, my main concern is like, how are we going to get like socialized? Like, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm like I kind of need like social interaction and stuff. And obviously like 6 feet apart, like, you know what I mean? So is there like times where like we'll be allowed to like be in the same room, just like away from each other? Or like, are we all just kind of confined to our own spaces unless we like go out and do our own thing?
We do want to encourage students to mingle with social distancing in mind, wearing a mask. If you leave your room, you do have to have a mask on.
Okay.
There are going to be events. We're still working on getting those lists and what those will look like. But while most of them will be virtual, we're also looking at doing like outdoor movie nights where everybody has like a circle.
Cute. Okay.
We are totally aware that the social aspect is needed. It's vital. and it's going to be more challenging to achieve this year. And so the RAs are going to be, your RA is going to be really pivotal in making those connections, not only on your floor, but also with other people. And so if you are at any point in time ever feeling that, gosh, I feel completely just isolated, please let us know, because we don't want you to feel like that. We know that having your own room and just so many different elements regarding the pandemic that's affecting just the college experience and higher education, there will be times where it may feel very isolating. And so please keep us in the loop. We want to be there with you and for you as we figure out how to navigate that together. And your RAs are your resident advisors. So it's an appointed student assistant that lives on your floor or very close to your floor and is assigned a floor or specific grouping of students to support, answer questions. You're going to have floor meetings together. While a lot of these will be virtual and there's going to be a lot of virtual engagement, we do want students to still connect with one another. We will have students still attending classes on campus, walking around, going to the eating places, eating out in courtyards together. A lot of our courtyards are set up for 2 people per table. So we have minimized it to reduce the impact of large gatherings, to give you a couple examples of how we're doing that. But it's a very valid concern. It's one I don't have an exact answer for.
Yeah.
We're still building it.
It's all very new.
Just make sure you don't stay silent with it. And if you're starting to feel, especially right now, right? Like we need to be there for each other.
Yeah.
It's just ever changing. And so just make sure, keep your RA in the loop. You'll start getting to know the people on your floor and your neighbors. And you'll make connections that way.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I know that they were very clear in orientation that we weren't going to have any roommates, but do we get suite mates? Because, like, mine is technically in Anna Kappa. Like, I think it said, like, 4 to 6 people. But, yes, I will get my own room and own bathroom. But will I be sharing, like, the living room and, like, the kitchen with someone else? Or is it all just for me?
It is possible. So in Anna Kappa, we can have one person on each side, and then they would share the living room and kitchen area. We do have some people that are residing in Anna Kappa and have their own apartment.
Okay.
So I would check your move-in information, because if you have a roommate that's assigned to your space, it should be listed. If you don't, then it's likely you do have the apartment to yourself.
Oh, awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Now things could change in spring. That's what we're hoping for, right? But yeah, as of right now, it's either going to be one person in Anna Kappa or by yourself.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
And then I did see Giselle's question. So Alyssa and Mariah, if you want to talk about, are there any rules or regulations regarding going off campus, and what does that look like?
So they're pretty much, we can't really regulate how often you go off campus. Like, we can't force you to stay on campus, because that's like your living space. So like, if you choose not to like be there as often, like, that's okay. But when you're on campus, we do want you to wear like masks and stuff. But going off campus, there's not really any regulations. We don't have a curfew. So you would just need your key card to come back in, because all gates will be locked unless you have your key card that will grant you access to the gates that you can come onto campus. But other than that, you don't have a curfew. There's not like, you don't have to be in your room like at night or something. Like, you don't have to be in your dorm like 24/7. Like, you can leave whenever you want, basically. There's not really any rules.
So we've made it through our list of questions in the Zoom group chat. Are there any other questions that you have regarding move-in, the student experience, getting the barcode sent to you? Your questionnaire will come live at midnight the day before your check-in appointment. And so you'll just want to create the health questionnaire or complete it before you arrive to campus or right as you're about to check in. And then that's where we'll check your questionnaire. We'll do the temperature check with our nursing students that are going to be assisting us. and then you'll progress to go get your key and other items to begin the move-in process.
Is all the furniture like in the apartments, like, do they get cleaned like every summer? And like, I mean, obviously mattresses, we need our own pads and stuff, but I'm like kind of a germ freak. So like, you know, even without COVID, I was kind of like that. I was like, I don't want to sleep in another bed unless it's like super, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And so a little bit about what our cleaning protocol is. So we have our custodians go through with aerosol disinfectant spray, and they cover every door handle, push bar, external seating area, our internal seating areas, and they do that every 24 hours. In terms of in your rooms, you have a full sanitization. So we have a cleaning crew come in to mop, wax your floors. We wipe down all surfaces and inside all drawers. And make sure to sanitize everything. And then our rugs are washed, and our furniture is washed with like an upholstery cleaner, and then it's sprayed down. And then for your mattress, it's sanitized, because most all of our mattresses are like a blue fabric that's like kind of like polyester, like a more of a, it kind of like if you scratch it makes a noise.
Yeah.
So it's that kind, and then students will bring mattress pads and or like the egg crate covers, and then they'll put their sheets on top.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
We also change out our filters. So we're actually just completing the process right now of doing all of our filter changes. And then those maintenance throughout the year, as well as your fire extinguishers, which are in all of your rooms.
Okay. And do we have smoke alarms in our rooms?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll have both fire alarms and smoke detectors. So your smoke detector is what can be operated from, like if you have too much smoke while cooking, or if a lot of dust gets kicked up or something. And those are in Anacapa, they're in the hallways. In Santa Cruz, they're in your room as well as in the communal area. And then Town Center, same thing. You always have one in your bedroom and then in the communal space that you have. The fire alarm is actually connected and wired to your building. And so if a fire alarm goes off, it will evacuate the whole building. We do one drill a year. It happens in about the first month of school. And then everything else that happens is real. And so whether it's real in terms of burnt ramen or real in terms of a local fire that will result in evacuation, we still treat it similarly in terms of the response of evacuating the buildings.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions? Definitely review your move-in newsletter, review all the materials that we send out. You're going to be getting some more email communication before you move in next week. And definitely you'll be receiving notification from your RA. You'll have door decks, and they'll be introducing themselves. So really get to know your RA, ask questions, ask for tips if you want to, and even outside the on-campus experience, right? Like if you want to know, hey, where's a good place to go eat? Or are there any activities that are local that would be fun to go to, like with social distancing? For example, we're in Ventura County, and while the campus is in Camarillo, in Ventura at the fairgrounds, they're doing outdoor concerts where you can drive up and then you pay per car, and you can bring stuff in and hang out and watch the concert. They're having movie nights, and there's a lot of places locally. Like I just heard they were doing a lot of outdoor Zumbas at the park. If anyone likes Zumba, social distance Zumba, they bring out a stage. So there's stuff to do. The campus will be working on events for those that want to stay on campus and do activities, but we definitely encourage you to go out into the community too, as you're comfortable, because it is a really great county and amazing beaches. If you haven't gotten an opportunity to explore the beaches around here, a lot of them are open. You just need to make sure that you are maintaining social distancing and just protecting yourself as you are on the beaches.
Tanya, do you know if the boating center is open?
As of right now, the boating center is not open. It doesn't have a plan to open yet, but our hope is, as we, in all reality, we're going to need to kind of see how school goes, open up, see how our plan transpires, because we've all been planning, of course, for something that we haven't experienced. And so a lot can change in a month or two in terms of not only how we're doing as like a local community and county and state, but also as nationally. Because as I'm sure many of you are aware, one of the reasons why we have a lot of strict guidelines, especially as we continue to see them tighten up in our different communities, is because we don't quite have a full handle on our case management. So once we can get to that point, I imagine that everything will start to trickle down in terms of relaxing some of these guidelines that we currently have in place. Other questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that there's going to be like wall thermometers in the village offices too, so you can just like walk up to it and it will tell you like what your temperature is. And I know from the CDC, they said that over 100.4 degrees is considered a fever. So if you do have that, just like stay in your room, and if you have like symptoms, then you should get checked, and you can just quarantine in your room or something for 2 weeks.
And you'll definitely want to notify housing if that happens, or if you have a friend that happens to, because then we will coordinate food deliveries, making sure that you get everything that you need. Also with that, I can't remember if we had said this, with everything that you are getting from housing when you move in, we also are providing you with a thermometer too, so you can take your own temperature.
So Tanya, did you see the last message?
Oh, that is a great question. I want to say yes, because we had one case where a staff member had gotten it back in like April, and that's all we've had, and a campus announcement had gone out. But other than that, we haven't had any. So I imagine there would probably be some kind of dissemination if at least it was in a public space. Now, if the person had no contact with anybody, it may not be, but I think that's a good question. So we have that noted, and I will try to get more clarification, and then we'll disseminate it on our fall planning page as well as on our social media too. We have to be careful with it because we have to respect HIPAA too. So they're just any of their health, the student who is affected by COVID, we'll just need to make sure to respect those laws. But there is a certain reasonable notification that sometimes may occur if anyone else's health could be in jeopardy, because we don't want you to then be exposed unknowingly. Other questions? And also too, if you're at the point where you're like, I've had all my questions answered, I'm good to go, you can always head out at any time. You don't need to stay all the way till 5. We'll of course still be here, and we could definitely chat with anybody too. So just let us know. But if you have all your questions answered, you are welcome to head out. And we thank you so much for joining us on our call today. If you do have additional questions, I will go ahead and type our email in the chat. So this is our student.housing email. So anything you have, we will also be eventually starting our live chat. So if any of you have experienced the live chat through orientation programs or financial aid or our records department, where you can just IM people during the workday and it'll go to our staff members that can get back to you, we will also be having that for housing. So it'll just be another way for you to virtually engage if you don't want to in person. We will still have our office hours open, like I said, and we still want students to come visit and chat. It's just we have to just maintain those barriers and precautions while we do that. So whether we have a Zoom link and you just want to call into the office and chat it up with whoever's working, or if you're passing through and want to say hi, you'll have, not all of our spaces that are staffed are going to be locked down. It's just the majority of the common areas, but we will still have our offices open. And those office hours are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Any other questions? Thank you all so much for joining us. I really sincerely hope you all are hanging in there. You're taking care of yourselves. This is a lot. This is a new environment. We're experiencing a lot together, and I imagine you've all already had a lot of experiences leading up to this moment. So however we can help and support you, please let us know. We're so excited to have you joining us and moving in next week. But if there's any feedback you have regarding any part of the process or your experience with housing, please don't ever hesitate to let us know, because we want to learn and grow with you during this experience, and we want this to feel like home and make sure you feel connected to the campus. So with that, we'll go ahead and conclude our housing Q&A. If you need to speak one-on-one, you can feel free to hang back, and then we can always do breakout rooms. But if you're good, then we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much, Clarissa, for your assistance.
Thank you all. It was really helpful.
All right. So Mariah and Alyssa, you're welcome to head out. I'm going to chat with Angel really quick just to clarify any additional questions. But if you need me for anything, just feel free to message me in Slack.
Okay. Bye.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.